Hello everybody, this is EpicUnknown here. Back again with another video for you. This one's going to be a little bit different than my previous videos. I have done a theory video before. However, not nearly as in-depth as this one's going to be. And this is for those One Piece fans out there. I've watched the show for years. I watched it when I was younger, took a long break for a while. Recently picked it back up a couple months ago. Went all the way through with the anime. Then started reading in the manga, made it through that. And I picked up where the anime left off. I read through into the manga. I've caught up in the manga. That took me a couple days just to get caught up. And I believe I have a theory that I've seen some people talk about. I googled it to see if anyone's talking about it. I've seen some people talk about it, but not nearly as in depth and not nearly as updated as what I'm wanting to do. So I'm going to do that. There will be some jump cuts in this video because there's a lot to talk about. I have a Word document here on my computer just filled. Disclaimer: this will get into religion, but Before you say, well, what does religion have to do with anything here with One Piece? There's a lot of references to a lot of different materials. For example, Alice in Wonderland. That is currently happening right now with the Big Mom Whole Cake Island arc. So there's a lot of references. Sometimes there are religious themes. For example, many people believe that Zoro is somehow connected with Azora. Yes, the same Azora from Azora's Wrath. We'll get to that in a minute. Regardless, this theory isn't about Zoro, though. This theory is about Sanji. And I personally believe where Oda is going with this is that Sanji, well, not just Sanji, but the Vinesmoke family. They are like the devils of this world. Sanji being a devil as well. Being a demon. Before you say that's not true, he doesn't put religious symbolism in One Piece. I show you this. Look familiar. Moving on. Well, starting out, just give me a moment, humor me for a moment. I will explain why Sanji in the Vinesmokes have Satan symbolism. What does Satan look like? Well, typically he has been described as a horned man that has a red tint to him. He's carrying a pitchfork on occasion, has a pointed tail, and he has like a lower half of a goat. The reason he is described this way is there were people who worshipped Saturn. The church did not like that people were worshipping Saturn and not their god, so they made Satan look a particular way. What is the zodiac symbol for Saturn? Capricorn. A goat. Saturn. Satan. Saturn. Satan. Oh well. Anyway, what do we see here in the background of this image? You see a horned goat creature in the background with curved horns. What is one of the Sanjis and the Vinesmokes in general? What is one of their most distinctive qualities? Curved eyebrows. It could just be a coincidence. I believe it's intentional. Now, what else do we know about the Vinesmokes? For the reader to symbolize and visually put the Vinesmokes next to the devil, we have to know that the Vinesmokes are evil. It has to be beyond a shadow of a doubt that the Vinesmokes are evil to the core. What is the best way to do this? Nazi symbolism. Now, for comparison, I will show two images right now. The first one being a picture from a very recent manga chapter. As you can see from this picture, there are flags hanging on the sides with circular symbols in them, and an eagle in the background. Now let's cut to this separate picture. As you can see, that's Adolf Hitler there in the front, and look, there are flags hanging off to the sides with circular symbols, and look, an eagle in the background. Now, I'm sure I wasn't the first person to point out the similarity between these two. However, what people haven't really covered is what all this stuff means. Obviously, there is Nazi symbolism, but it goes beyond that. Because that eagle is not only Nazi symbolism, it is also Roman symbolism. This is a symbol for the Roman Legion. As a lot of people know, the Roman Legion are the group of fighters for the Roman Empire. Now, hold on to that thought. I'll come back to that in a minute. What we also know about Sanji is that he has been related to Hell multiple different times. One of his moves is called the Diabla Jamble, the devil leg, is what it is called. Well, also, during the 2-year time skip, when asked about his experience, he said he trained in Hell. I mean, it could just be a coincidence. I mean, yes, the devil is from Hell, but you know what? That could definitely be a coincidence. Let's just keep going on this. He is in Alabasta. He called himself Mr. Prince. Why? We didn't know at the time, but now we know it's because he's actually a prince. He's a prince of the Vinesmoke family. The Vinesmoke family came to power by being prominent figures in what they are calling the underworld. This is their words. This is the One Piece story. They got power in the underworld, making Sanji a prince of the underworld. Who are other princes of the underworld? Oh, well, you know what? Moving on. You know what? This is it's not like he's related to other signs of Satan. It's not like he's somehow involved with the 7 deadly sins. Greed, lust, gluttony, wrath, Asura's wrath, envy, pride, or sloth. Okay, maybe a sloth's a little bit of a stretch, but it can make sense if you think about it. It's almost as if there's other relations to Hell, like maybe the number of the beast. And it's not like the number 6 appears anywhere in the manga. No, not anywhere. And you know what? It's definitely not like he's related to the other signs of Hell, like the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Or is he? I'm willing to bet that the different members of Sanji's family represent the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. I know you're saying, but there's 5 members of his family. Well, we'll get to that. Just hold on. I believe that Sanji's father, Judge, is the representation of the Horseman conquest. Specifically, for the painting we see in his room. The painting is titled The Conquest of 4 Nations. 4 nations. Conquest. 4. Coincidence? Who knows? But it's called that, and it features him prominently standing there. The next one that makes sense to me is Reiju and Famine. And from the first time we see Reiju, we see what her power is. Luffy eats something, and he gets horribly sick. And he's laying on the ground, and he's all super skinny, and he's foaming at the mouth, and he's drooling, and his eyes are looking all weird, and he's looking like he's on death's door. And she comes up, and she leans down, and she says, "Thank you for the meal," and begins sucking the poison out of him. And this rash is transferring onto her, and it looks like a famine style of it looks like someone suffering from famine. Next, on to war. Ichiji would represent war. Ichiji's nickname is Sparkling Red. War rides in on a red horse. Now that could be a bit of a stretch, but I believe that it is the most logical for him to be there. I will predict that he will have this big sword that he's going to come out, and that is going to be his fighting style. He's going to use a big sword. Next is Death. Now, this is the point where you guys are saying, but there's only one horseman left, and there's 2 family members. The 4th horseman, Death, is said to be riding a sickly, green-colored pale horse. Sanji has a nickname, Wench Green. And Hades follows Death. I believe Niji represents Hades through his horns. Now, these are all stretches. I understand that. And I know if you're made it to this point and you're thinking, no way, this is way too big of a stretch. Let me make one final connection. Remember I said to remember when I talked about the Romans. There's actually a popular theory out there that the 4 horsemen are directly correlated with the Roman Empire. Specifically, during the Jewish and Roman War of 66. Now, I've given the information. I could go in and go into great more detail about all these different things. However, I feel like the information has been given. You can go and search them on your own. Anyway, I'd like to thank you all for amusing me and sticking out through watching this video. If you have any evidence to support my theory, comment it down below. If you have any issues with my theory, any holes you want to poke into it, feel free to comment them down below. We'll talk about it. We'll figure out what's going on. If there are holes in my theory, I will know, and I'll fix them, or I'll admit, hey, you know what? This is wrong. I was wrong. Let's figure out what it is then. I'd like to thank you all for watching, sticking it out with me, and I will see you in the next video. And until then, goodbye.